I started a Clint Eastwood binge recently. A couple of years ago I got a box set, 40 film box set from my wife. Big fan of Clint Eastwood, particularly as a director. I've always been drawn to his movies as a director. There's quite a few of his movies that he's directed that are pretty high up on my all-time favourites. But I like him as an actor as well, I always have. He's just, yeah, something about him that's just oozes charisma and yeah, quite wry, quite dry, but it works. The very definition of a movie star as opposed to an actor. But yeah, I love Clint Eastwood, and I thought, you know, time to start wading through this box set. So I started with Where Eagles Dare, a film I've never seen all the way through, but I know that it's going to be it's one of those films that like would have been on a Saturday afternoon when my dad would have watched it, and I'd have sat there going, "Oh, this is so boring," which you do as a kid. At least I did. This was not my kind of film as a child. It was the kind of film that just old men watched, and I was like, "No, that's not for me." Being a somewhat older man now, I quite liked this film. So this is a men on a mission film. Someone's been captured by the Germans, set during the Second World War, and a British team led by a character played by Richard Burton, another actor that I do quite like, it's got to be said. They're sent to recover this guy before he's tortured and gives up all manner of secrets that he knows about British intelligence. Along for the ride is Clint Eastwood's American Soldier, a man brought in as someone who can be trusted because there may be spies within the ranks. So yeah, it's, like I say, it's a men on a mission movie. What's going to happen? Who's going to get blown up? Who's going to get shot? This, that and the other. It's just, I really enjoyed it. And a lot of that is to do with the characters and the ridiculousness of some of the antics that are going on. It is played pretty straight for the most part. To a large degree, there's a lot that happens in this that is quite a hard pill to swallow, where you just have to go, you know what? I'm just going to go along with it. I'm going to accept it, I'm going to ride with it and see where it takes me and enjoy the ride. It's pretty amusing seeing an American and a British guy going into like the heart of German territory and clearly speaking with an American accent and a British accent, and none of these German soldiers are batting an eyelid. It's just like there's no attempt made at all to even put on like a German accent as if to go undercover. So that's quite amusing, and you kind of have to wrap your head around that and just think, oh, okay, whatever. But the adventure itself is still quite thrilling. There's some great action set pieces in it. One particular one involving a skylift that feels like something very much out of a Bond film. A surprising amount of violence in this, given that this is a PG. I feel like if this came out today, it would be like a 12 or something. But yeah, there's one particular moment when Clint Eastwood comes from behind someone and stabs them in the neck. Now, it's not as like, you know, bloody and grotesque as you might see in something today like Saving Private Ryan, but you still see it and you still know what's happened. So yeah, it did kind of surprise me that would be in a PG. There's some really strong female characters in this movie as well. So Mary as this character Mary Ellison, she's doing things in this film that, like, yeah, you know, recently it's kind of turned into a bit of a meme, the whole Jennifer Lawrence thing. It's like no one was doing these action roles before, which I feel sorry for her, to be quite honest. I feel like that was one of those brain fart moments where you've probably done about 200 interviews and at that point you're just spewing out crap. But whatever, she said it and she's got to live with it. But I just feel like, yeah, this has got some real strong kick-ass, badass women in it. So this character, Mary Ellison, she's like carrying a gun, she's shooting Nazis, and it's just, yeah, it was quite a surprise to see in a film from 1968. Also, Ingrid Pitt in this. I gotta say, had I been a young man back in 1968, I could very much believe she would have been something of a fascination of mine. Yeah, she's quite stunning in this film, it's got to be said. She's good here, I like her here, but certainly Mary kind of does take a lot of the thunder, given some of the stuff she gets to do, some real badass moments. There's some really great dialogue as well, just a lot of the interplay, particularly between Burton and Eastwood. Eastwood's quite really a man of few words in this film, but he does manage to do a lot with his body language and that kind of dry smile that he often has. And the way he kind of creeps up on people and just kills them like some kind of silent hitman. Burton's more the talker in this, but I like the interplay between the two of them. The two of them have some really good on-screen chemistry. The score to this by Ron Goodwin is pretty good as well. There's some catchy kind of themes that run throughout that kind of get stuck in your head. I would say that the overall running time of the film is a bit long. I feel like they could have shortened it a bit. You start to feel that running time after a while. This is a 2.5 hour film. I think in the final act we get a little bit talky with the explanations, a lot of kind of exposition and kind of revealing of plans and what we were up to and this, that and the other. But on the whole, it's a really fun adventure with likeable characters, a fair amount of violence, some pretty good action set pieces, and yeah, quite surprising, I would say. Not what I was expecting, given what I remember as a kid. Like I say, my dad had watched something like this when I was a kid and I'd just switch off mentally. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Definitely recommend it. If you haven't seen Where Eagles Dare, do check it out. If you have seen it, I'd like to know what you think about it. Leave your comments below, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this review, and until next time, cracking.